guys, if you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. All right, guys, I'm back and I'm sassy. It's Tuesday and it's April 2nd and it's 4:24 p.m. Eastern Time, so the night is young. I'm going to do some Q-related news and get that out of the way in case Q posts later, and then we will see, because actually he has not posted yet today, but that doesn't mean anything. So we'll keep an eye on that, but I've got plenty of Q-related news, so that's what we're going to get into next, and there's no better time to start than now. So let's go. All right, now, I've got a bunch of it. I won't get through it in one video, and if I have a chance, I'm going to do two videos, Q-related news today. But anyway, let's get started. I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you enjoyed your April 1st, April Fool's Day. I spent mine in the car, as I told you guys before, I guess on Sunday. So, you know, nothing too exciting happened, but all right. Now, the Daily Caller report. Ilhan Omar is under investigation for misusing campaign contributions. Does this surprise anyone? No. Democratic Minnesota Representative Ilhan Omar is facing a probe into her campaign spending after complaints allege that she misused contributions for personal use, according to a report published on Monday. The Minnesota Campaign Finance Board is investigating Omar after Minnesota GOP State Representative Steve Drozdkowski filed two complaints alleging she spent nearly $6,000 in campaign funds for personal use while she served in the Minnesota legislature, reported WJLA. Some of the improper expenditures, including payments to Omar's divorce attorney and spending on travel to Boston and Estonia. Let's see, was she the one that married her brother? I think she was. So now is she having to pay an attorney to divorce her brother? Is that even a legal marriage? Don't you actually have to consummate the marriage for it to be legal? Maybe I'm way out there, from days gone by. I don't know, but I always thought that for a marriage to be legal, it had to be consummated, but maybe they did. I don't know. I don't want to know. All right. Anyway, so there we have her misusing her campaign funds, and we had AOC doing the same thing, except it wasn't to her divorce attorney because she has never been married. I had observed a long pattern. What's going on here? Close. Trying to sell me things, always trying to sell me things. I had observed a long pattern, Drozdkowski told WJLA. Representative Omar hasn't followed the law. She repeatedly trampled on the laws of the state in a variety of areas and gotten by with it. The campaign finance allegations come on the heels of a separate incident where the freshman congresswoman had to return $2,500 in speaking fees, according to the Pioneer Press. Omar accepted payment from Normandale Community College and Inver Hills Community College in 2017, despite Minnesota House rules barring lawmakers from accepting speaking fees from entities with business at the legislature. Authorities have reported and completed the investigation, but have not yet compiled their findings or issued their rulings. Interesting. Not surprising at all. I mean, the way she came into the country was illegal to begin with. I mean, the way she got her brother over here was illegal. She pretended to marry her brother, or actually did marry her brother. I don't know. I don't want to know. Anyway, let's go back and see what other trouble we can get into here. And let's look at this. This is pretty fresh news here. This from yesterday. Liberal heads explode. I'd like to see that. No, really, I would. Liberal heads explode. Trump reportedly says he will replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg with Catholic Judge Amy Barrett. Well, that has long been surmised, but now it's out in the open. Liberals are praying this is an April Fool's joke. Nope, don't think so. According to Axios, President Trump reportedly is saving conservative Catholic Judge Amy Barrett to replace fragile Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg when she leaves the court. Well, personally, I already think she's left the court. I think she's, dicing onions with the Grim Reaper right now. But, one never knows. She could be on life support or what have you. But I certainly don't believe she's at the Supreme Court. I don't. Now, if I'm wrong, I will apologize, but I don't believe she is. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is 86 years old and in questionable health. Yes, death does do that. Makes you question one's health. But anyway, The Hill reported President Trump has reportedly said he is saving Judge Amy Barrett of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Seventh Circuit to replace Judge Ruth Bader Ginsburg on the Supreme Court, according to Axios. Barrett was popular choice among conservative activists as a candidate to replace Justice Anthony Kennedy before Trump eventually nominated Justice Brett Kavanaugh. Axios reported that Trump has made clear his desire to replace Ginsburg with Barrett since Kennedy's decision to retire, telling people on separate occasions, "I'm saving her for Ginsburg." The American left is very threatened by devout Catholics like Amy Barrett. Well, heck, who aren't they threatened by? I'm telling you, it doesn't take anything to threaten a liberal. According to the left, Yahoo stringent Catholics like Judge Amy Barrett are cultists. Cultists. This is type of anti-Christian filth that is promoted by the liberal media and Democrats today. Skeptics of Judge Amy Barrett's involvement with a group called People of Praise have questioned whether the group has demonstrated cult-like elements. Via Yahoo, who are the People of Praise that Supreme Court contender Amy Coney Barrett belongs to? Many Christians view this time as a bona fide revival, a unique manifestation of God's power, similar to the Great Awakenings of the 18th and 19th centuries. This context, the intensity and earnestness of that time, helps explain some of the more esoteric and sometimes concerning elements of religious practice that have been attributed to the People of Praise. The group's public reticence has contributed to accusations by former members that it attempts to influence the lives of its members in ways that in the past have crossed over into control and manipulation. Even in one of the most rigorous critiques of Barrett's group, a 152-page booklet written in 1997 by a former member named Adrian Reimers, there are numerous references to the powerful experience that swept up so many people of faith during that time. Reimers notes the strong sense of euphoria that permeated the movement not only in South Bend, Indiana, but all across the country. It seems that the Holy Spirit was carrying us along, that all we had to do was respond to his manifest leadings, Reimers wrote of that time, and Reimers described charismatic masses, prayer meetings, and large rallies in which participants felt an almost tangible sense of communion. Because according to Yahoo, having an almost tangible sense of communion with God is a cultish experience. Now, I don't know about this People of God movement, and actually I think I would like to look into it just because of some things that now they weren't just cultish, it was cult, that I was involved in many years previously. So I'd like to check that out. But if she can do the job and she is, if she can do the job, should her religion really matter? What she's following and it depends. It would depend. Certainly if your religion calls for cutting people's heads off, then no, I don't think she'd be a good candidate. But I don't think that Catholicism has ever, been that radical. But anyway, let's go on. I just liked the part about the liberal heads exploding. I have a very visual mind, and I thought, well, wouldn't that be interesting? Anyway, let's go back. Oh, that's Picasso. What's the matter? What's wrong? You think that I should be paying attention to you instead of talking to them. Is that the problem? Yes, I know. It's rough being a kitty. Oh, it's so rough. It's so tough being a kitty. All right. All right. right, Lindsey Graham reveals Attorney General Bill Barr pretty upset over Hillary investigation and what he may do about it. This could be interesting. Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham revealed during an interview on Sunday that Attorney General William Barr is pretty upset over the way the criminal investigation into Hillary Clinton was handled, and that he hopes there's a special counsel appointed to look at the DOJ corruption and political bias. Yeah, because actually, in actual fact, was there even a criminal investigation into Hillary Clinton? No, you would not call what happened a criminal investigation at all. But I digress. Appearing on Fox News Sunday Morning Futures, Graham told Marie Bartiromo that there needs to be an investigation into the other side regarding the 2016 election, including the Clinton campaign, the FISA warrant abuse, and the counterintelligence investigation. Nobody in the Clinton email investigation went to jail for lying about the process because there was no process, Graham said, and I know Bill Barr pretty well, and he's pretty upset about the way it all was handled. I don't know if he's going to have a special prosecutor to look at the probability of criminal misbehavior. I'm going to look at what happened from an oversight role, but I hope there's a special counsel appointed to look at DOJ corruption and political bias, because Mueller did his job against Trump. Nobody really looked at the Clinton campaign, the FISA warrant abuse, or the counterintelligence investigation criminality yet, and somebody should. Well, I could not agree more. I'm not so worried about retrying her, but I want to make sure that the public understands that she got away with something they wouldn't get away with. I think it's important to understand that political bias probably drove the Clinton outcome, not the facts. Graham continued, I really don't believe that Comey just took over the investigation from Lynch based on a tarmac meeting. I just want the American public to know that the standard used against Clinton is an outlier. It's not the way business is done, and why did they choose that path? I think they had a political bias. They wanted Clinton to win, Trump to lose, and here's the point. How could she win if the Department of Justice indicted her? I think that's what drove the decision not to indict. They wanted her to win. Graham said that his job is to provide oversight and to find out how the system was derailed so it does not happen again. But it's not enough to know how the system got derailed so it doesn't happen again. Those that are responsible need to be punished. And who was it that said, it was somebody that I respected too, I can't remember now, but said, oh, let bygones be bygones. We've had enough fighting. Let's just forget it and put it in the past. Oh, sure. Well, yeah, that's all well and good. But if they had found Donald Trump guilty of anything, I mean, anything, what would have happened then? You think they would have said, well, let's just put it behind us. We've had so much of this, No. It's craziness. The hypocrisy. It's unbelievable. Anyway, Graham said that his job is to provide oversight and find out how the system was derailed so it doesn't happen again. Do we need to rewrite the FISA laws to make sure this never happens again? Graham added. Do we need to have congressional rules about counterintelligence investigations or presidential campaigns? But somebody needs to look at the behavior and see if they violated the law in the manner that Mueller looked at the Trump campaign extensively. Nobody's taking a look at the other side, and I hope Bill Barr will either appoint a special counsel to do that or do it himself, because it's important that both campaigns be looked at, not just one. Amen. Could not agree more. Graham also added that following Mueller's report, which said that the Trump campaign did not collude with Russia, that he wants some answers about how top-level Obama officials conducted themselves during the Clinton investigation. And, by the way, the left right now is doing this big push, and I keep hearing it, even though it's been debunked time and time again. I keep hearing, well, it wasn't that there was no collusion, it was just that they didn't find enough collusion to meet the legal level where they could prosecute it successfully. That is bull crap. That's not what Mueller said. There was no collusion. There was no evidence of collusion. He didn't say, oh, there wasn't enough evidence of collusion. If he had said that, that's totally different. But he didn't. He said there was no collusion. None. Zero. Zip. Nada. I wish the liberals could get that through their head, but they don't want to. They don't want to. It's like, this is what it's like. I don't hear you. I don't hear you. I don't hear you. That's how they behave, like a child on the schoolyard. Did I just? I think I just knocked my camera. So if it moved a little, let me go back here, check it out, make sure it's all okay. Yeah, there I am. Oh yeah, big as all outdoors there. Okay, let's go back. So yeah, it makes me really irate because I keep seeing this in Twitter and stuff. Well, yeah, there wasn't enough collusion, but there was collusion, and there's still, if we dug deep enough, we'd find it. Sure. That's not what was said, and they could dig all the way to China. They're not going to find any evidence because it's not there. It didn't happen. It was a hoax. And those who perpetrated it, it cost, what was it, $300 million? I could be way off, but I think it was $300 million. This hoax cost the American people. Someone needs to pay. Someone needs to be held responsible. Absolutely. So let's go on here. There are 3 things I'm going to look at as Judiciary Chairman. The Clinton email investigation. Why did Comey take over the investigation? I would like to talk to Lynch and Comey. I would like to find out whether or not they basically were in the tank for Clinton and gave her a pass, Graham said. When it comes to the counterintelligence investigation, I want to find out why they never went to Trump to tell him he may have a problem with people in his campaign working with the Russians. Yeah, that's another big thing. Why didn't they go to Trump? If they really thought that Carter Page was working with the Russians and he was part of Trump's campaign, why didn't they go to Trump and say, look, did you realize that there's somebody in your campaign that may be working with Russia? Wouldn't that be the normal way to handle it? But these people aren't normal. Anyway, they told Feinstein she had somebody in her office working for the Chinese. Why didn't they do that with Trump? And the last thing is the FISA warrant. How could this document, the dossier, be used to get a warrant against an American citizen 4 times and it still be unverified to this day? Because the FISA warrant, and we've gone over this before, but in case there's anyone new is listening, the FISA warrant, you have to have probable cause. You can't just say, you know what, I think I'll spy on this person today. Spying on an American citizen is a big deal. In fact, it's against the law. That's why you have to go to a special court, and there has to be a justifiable reason in the interest of national safety or what have you. So they went and they used the same evidence 4 times. Like, if you get one warrant, it lasts for, I'm not sure how many months it lasts, but then you have to come before the court again and bring more evidence and say, well, we found this and this and this, and so there's probable cause here, so I think we need to extend this FISA warrant. Well, they didn't. They didn't find anything new during that time. So the FISA should have been shut down, but it wasn't. 4 times it was signed off on. Willy-nilly. Sure, it goes by. Anyway, yes, and it is still unverified to this day. So it's other highlights from Graham's interview provided via Fox News on the United States and China trade talks and putting an end to intellectual property theft. Well, I'm not going to go into that because that is not exactly, our train right now. But I will mention this on the potential southern border shutdown next week. Well, I mean, what are we supposed to do? You have the Mexican government allowing thousands of people to walk all across Mexico. They provide them buses. They drop them off at the border and they say, here, United States, deal with this problem. We have 100,000 people cross the border illegally in March alone. We're on track to over 1 million this year if this keeps up. So Mexico could help more. They could help more. The Triangle countries, 70% of the people coming here legally come from 3 countries. So, and I'm going to skip the 2020 election platform, but let's go back and go on because there's lots more to look at. And dang it, we're going to look at it. All right. Now, I like this. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Just in, presidential candidate Beto O'Rourke received $430,000 from people working in the oil and gas industry. There were 29 large donations from fossil fuel executives, despite signing a no fossil fuel money pledge during his campaign and supporting AOC's Green New Deal. So, yeah, and this man wants to be president? Really? Yeah, the man that fed his wife a baby turd. Yes, he did. Look it up. That's not a lie. He did so. Yeah, thought it was funny too. Yeah. I don't think that would be funny, and I don't think that that's funny under any circumstances. But anyway, that's what he did, and he signed this. Let me see. He signed a no fossil fuel money pledge during his campaign. But then he accepts $430,000 from people in the oil and gas industry. Liar. He's already starting off as a liar. How do you expect somebody who starts off as a liar and who is dishonest is not going to suddenly change their spots and become lily white when they get in the White House? They're not. In fact, if they're corrupt before they get in the White House, they're going to be 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times more corrupt when they get in there, because then they have more power. Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So, let's go on to this. Over 1 million illegal aliens expected to arrive in U.S. Merkel-style disaster. And that's exactly what they want. When I say they, it's the people funding this, and there are people funding these migrants. They're not just getting up one day and going, oh, I think I'll go to the United States. I think I'll just pack a bag and, yeah, I think I'll just leave. Yeah. You think they're doing that? They're not. They're not. Who does that? Who wakes up one morning and just says, oh, what should I do today? Yeah, I think I'll walk across the country and try to get into the United States. No, they're being paid. And they want to overrun the United States. They want to overrun our resources. They want to lower our standard of living. Why? Because they're trying to bring in the globalist agenda, the one world order, and they want the countries with higher standards of living to be brought down low. I can't believe right now what's happening in Canada, because we just had the carbon tax go into effect. And I knew it was coming, but I wasn't paying attention. I look up at the gas prices and I go, holy crap. I mean, I couldn't believe it. And then I'm looking at the paper and they're saying, well, expect it to go up more. I mean, our gas prices are already outrageously high. So, I mean, and you know, if the gas prices go way up because of this carbon tax, well, all the food is delivered by trucks, right? Transport trailers, which run on gas and oil. And so who are they going to pass those expenses on to? Do you think they're just going to suck it up? No, they're going to pass it on to us, the consumer, in, by higher food prices, higher prices for everything, merchandise, everything. It's unreal. But that's Justin Trudeau, good friend of George Soros' son, friend of Soros, friend of Clinton's. So doesn't that say it all? So the same thing's happening here, and except, you know, the States has a president that's trying to do something about it. Here, our president's going along with it. Oh, I'll come to Canada. It doesn't matter if you're properly vetted. Oh, all you former ISIS fighters, come on in. You're welcome here. We believe in second chances. Yeah, that's what's happening. It's what's happening. And Toronto the Good, which is what it used to be called when I lived there, as at 17, I moved away from home and I moved to Toronto, went to community college before I went to university. And they used to call it Toronto the Good. Not called that anymore. Every day, murders, and, well, you can just imagine what kind of murders are taking place. So anyway, I'm a little bit off topic, but not really, because both countries are facing a similar problem. It's just that we've got somebody from within trying to destroy it. You guys have the deep state, and you've got Donald Trump that is very much fighting against it, and to a great extent has made huge inroads into it. And I don't know. I mean, I was born in Canada. Most of you know my story. I spent most of my life in the U.S. and looking after my mother here, who's elderly, want to return to the U.S. as soon as possible. I consider myself American, although I was born here. So I do have a vested interest in Canada as well. I have friends, I have family here that I love, and I don't want to see them suffer in any way. But it's alarming what's happening and how fast Canada is going downhill. All right, so let's look at this. Over 1 million illegal aliens are expected to be added to the United States illegal population, which includes between 11 million to 22 illegal aliens. Now, I happen to think that it's higher than that. Now, I know you're saying, well, who are you? Why do you? Well, I just happen to, because they have a long history of under-reporting the numbers, and I think we're all well aware of that. This year alone, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, officials have confirmed, which includes 11 million to 22 million illegal aliens this year alone. So that's just this year, 11 to 22 million added to the United States. Yeah. And and in some places they can get driver's license, they can get welfare, what do you call it? Social assistance, I can't remember. Sometimes I get between the two countries, they have different names and I get it mixed up. But anyway, they get social assistance or welfare, they get, all the benefits that citizens get, and they're not even legal. And how is that right? How is that fair to those that were born in the States? I don't know. Breitbart News analysis revealed that at the current projections of illegal immigrants at the U.S.-Mexico border, catch and release levels, and visa overstays, the nation is set to admit and resettle about 1 million to 1.5 million border crossers and illegal aliens this year. Acting ICE Director Ron Vitiello confirmed to Senator Lindsey Graham that at current rates, the U.S. is on track to admit 1.2 million illegal aliens by the end of the year. If March numbers hold, we are on track for 1.2 million illegal immigrants coming into the country in 2019, Graham wrote online. Center for Immigration Studies Executive Director Mark Krikorian compared the flood of illegal immigration to the European migrant crisis, which remains ongoing, where the continent saw nearly 2.5 million illegal crossings into the Mediterranean in 2015 and 2016. We are seeing an Angela Merkel-style disaster on the border caused by loopholes in our laws that the Democrats refuse to even consider changing, Krikorian told Politico. And Donald Trump, it was interesting because he said, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember just a couple days ago, he said I could sit down and correct the immigration laws within a half hour. So these loopholes apparently are not hard to correct, but they don't want them corrected. meaning the Democrats. And why would they? Those are all their voters. But the one difference between the U.S. and Europe, the Mexicans and the others from the Central American communities, sure, there are some MS-13 gang members in there. There are some criminals in there, but not all. Some of these people are just good people that want a better life, and I know that. I know that. They still should, not should, they have to come in legally and be properly vetted, but they're not violent people that are trying to cut our heads off or rape all our women. I just don't believe that. I think that for the most part, when I was living down south, the Hispanics that I met were very good people. They were family people. They worked hard. So there's a difference there. Anyway, let's go back. Let's go back and come down a little bit here. All right, now, this from Donald J. Trump. Robert Mueller was a godlike figure to the Democrats until he ruled no collusion in the long-awaited $30 million, I was right, $30 million Mueller report. Now the Dems don't even acknowledge his name, have become totally unhinged, and would like to go through the whole process again. It won't happen. Yeah, I mean, these are the Democrats that they wouldn't even, what did Nancy Pelosi, oh, she was willing to give $1 to the wall. Well, bless her little kind heart. I'm sorry, it's time for an eye roll. Everybody, collective, yeah, a dollar she was willing to give. And then she wouldn't even give that when asked. So, yeah, anyway, $30,000 for the fake hoax Mueller report, and they want to do it all over again. I don't think so. Not unless they, you know what? Here's a great idea. No, seriously, this is a wonderful idea. I would say to the Democrats, if you are willing to fund out of your own pocket, if you believe that strongly that he's guilty, fund it out of your own pocket. And then when you prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, maybe we'll reimburse you, which they won't, so they'll never be reimbursed. But that's what I would say. I'd say, okay, well, the taxpayers have already paid $30 million. So if you want this whole charade to go on, you guys fund it. Yeah, that's what I'd say. Seriously, I would. Not even $1 of taxpayer money should go into furthering this charade, which is what it is. It's absolutely ludicrous. Okay, let's go on. No, really, let's. All right, and I have to tell you this. I got an email from, well, she's a listener, and she's a wonderful, wonderful person, and she knows who she is. She'll know who she is as soon as I say this. She ended it saying, calling me Ms. Platypus Papadopoulos, and then she said, "Don't sue me." Well, I laughed and laughed and laughed. How do you like that? Platypus Papadopoulos. Well, because the other day I said that, I was a platypus. That's how I self-identified, because somebody was sued $55,000 because they called a person that was born a male. They called them a male, when a biological male, even though they had transitioned to a woman, and they were sued for $55,000. So I said, well, I'm going to self-identify as a platypus, and if anybody calls me anything else, I'm going to sue them. So she called me Platypus Papadopoulos. Now, that would make me so, I love that name, Papadopoulos, and I have to, in every single video, work in a way to say it. So that was my way. Clever, eh? But it really did happen, and she really did write me that email, and she really is sweet, and she's a listener. She knows who she is. And anyway, she has she told me she has a convertible. So she says that she likes to go out and scare her hair. So I right away, I had a connection. Anybody that goes out and purposely scares their hair, wow, that's something to me. You can tell somebody obviously has scared my hair today because it was doing okay. I don't know what happened. Somebody scared it. So I hope it wasn't any of you. All right, let's go on. Stop the silliness. No, really, I am going to stop the silliness. It's my New Year's resolution for next year. So I'll work on it through the year. Maybe I'll get there by next year. Probably not. Okay. A presidential document by the Executive Office of the President on March 29th, 2019. What is this? Something important. Coordinating national resilience to electromagnetic pulses. Let's take a boo at this, shall we? By the authority vested in me as President by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered as follows. Section 1, Purpose. An electromagnetic pulse, EMP, has the potential to disrupt, degrade, and damage technology and critical infrastructure systems. Human-made or naturally occurring EMPs can affect large geographic areas, disrupting elements critical to the nation's security and economic prosperity, and could adversely affect global commerce and stability. The federal government must foster sustainable, efficient, and cost-effective approaches to improving the nation's resilience to the effects of EMPs. Section 2, Definitions as used in this order. A. Critical infrastructure means systems and assets, whether physical or virtual, so vital to the United States that the incapacity or destruction of such systems and assets would have a debilitating impact on security, national economic security, national public health or safety, and any combination of those matters. Electromagnetic pulse is a burst of electromagnetic energy. EMPs have the potential to negatively affect technology systems on Earth and in space. A high-altitude EMP, HEMP, is a type of human-made EMP that occurs when a nuclear device is detonated at approximately 40 kilometers or more above the surface of the Earth. A geomagnetic disturbance, GMD, is a type of natural EMP driven by a temporary disturbance of the Earth's magnetic field resulting from interactions with solar eruptions. Both HEMPs and GMDs can affect large geographic areas. C. National critical functions means the functions of government and the private sector so vital to the United States that their disruption, corruption, or dysfunction would have a debilitating effect on security, national economic security, national public health or safety, and any combination thereof. And prepare and preparedness means the actions taken to plan, organize, equip, train, and exercise to build and sustain the capabilities necessary to prevent, protect against, mitigate the effects of, respond to, and recover from those threats that pose the greatest risk to the security of the nation. These terms include the prediction and notification of impending EMPs. Now, I don't know, this is really quite long. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link to it in the description of the video for you to peruse at your leisure, because there's a lot here and I think the timing is interesting. I think it's interesting because there's a lot of talk about an EMP. And I'll tell you, if we ever did have an EMP, and I mean we meaning North America, the United States, Canada, anywhere in North America, really, I don't know what would happen because computers wouldn't work, anything electronic wouldn't work. I mean, really, we would be pretty much shut down. We'd be in the dark. It would not be good news. And there's a lot of talk about this. So I think it's interesting that he's come out with an executive order, and it's Executive Order 13865. Now, let me get to see what this specifically provides for. I think this is So Section 5 is roles and responsibilities. The Secretary of State shall lead the coordination of diplomatic efforts with United States allies and international partners regarding enhancing resilience to the effects of EMPs. Now, I'm really glad that Donald Trump is taking this very seriously, and he evidently is. So if this was not a viable, if this could not happen, as some people said, oh, that can't happen, that's ridiculous, why would he write an executive order addressing it, right? It's not only possible, it's probable if we don't take actions to prevent it. That's what I believe. Not only possible, but probable. There's a lot of nations that don't like the United States and would attack us, but fortunately, the United States has the muscle power to, I think most would think twice before ever doing anything to harm the United States because of the military power, which is good. Anyway, in coordination with the Secretary of Defense and the heads of other relevant agencies, strengthen nuclear non-proliferation and deterrence efforts, which would reduce the likelihood of an EMP attack on the United States or its allies and partners by limiting the availability of nuclear devices. So this is, it goes through a lot of different things and the roles that different people will play. And I think it's good for everyone to read. So I'm going to put a link to it in the description. But for me to read this whole thing would be incredibly boring, and not everybody is interested. So I think it is interesting, and I think it's something necessary, and I think it's something that all Americans should read and understand. But, some people find this sort of thing boring, and that's fine. So let's go on. And those of you that are interested and want to know more about it, the link will be in the video description. All right, now let's go on. This is going to be one of the most bizarre things you'll hear all day if you haven't heard it already. And chances are you probably haven't. But yeah, if you hear something more bizarre than this today, please let me know. Put it in the comments below because I want to know. All right. Okay, this from USA Today. Hang on. Head transplant doctors Xiaoping Ren and Sergio Canavero claim spinal cord progress. So they're now claiming, surgeons from China and Italy claimed 2 studies published Wednesday add evidence to their ability to treat irreversible spinal cord injuries and related controversial aspiration to perform the world's first human head transplant. Now, that's interesting because I had read somewhere else where they had already done this, or claimed that they have already done the world's first head transplant, which means that if you've got a donor body, if you've got a spinal, let's say you have a spinal cord injury where you can't walk, like Christopher Reeve, where he was in a wheelchair and really had no function below the neck. Well, in times to come, if you have a donor body, you can attach your head to a donor body, which is a little odd when I think about it. Like, I'd want a model's body, I'd wait, really. I'd say, no, really, I'd like to wait until a model dies, and then I'll take that. But anyway, that's just me. So yeah, this is just really odd. It's an odd thought. Do you not think, now, if you were paralyzed from the waist down, I could see that, a donor body might be a good thing because of course you'd want to walk and do all the things that a normal person does, but it's just bizarre because I don't know. I don't know. I have a very hard time getting my head around this, and maybe it's just me, but I do. So the new work they published in a scientific journal showed that monkeys and dogs were able to walk again after their spinal cords were fully transected during surgery and then put back together again. The neurosurgeons described the results as medically unprecedented. The highly experimental procedures took place at Harbin Medical University in China. Both studies were supported by video evidence and published in Surgery Neurology International, a peer-reviewed medical journal based in the United States. Canavero, who is based in Turin, Italy, and has a reputation in the global medical community as something of a sensationalist, said that for too long, neurological surgeons have stuck to the view that a severed spinal cord cannot be mended in any way, a mantra uncritically repeated over and over. He said that the two new papers published Wednesday, plus a previous study published last year in Surgery, a separate peer-reviewed medical journal based in the United States, completely reject this view. In an email exchange from Harbin in northern China, Xiaoping said that the findings were proof that human trials could be initiated, and he noted that while this particular grand achievement took place in China, he was open to doing it anywhere in the world. Still, even if the alleged advance, it involves applying a polyethylene glycol substance or PEG to mend severed or injured spinal cords, withstands further scrutiny and is ultimately capable of helping patients with spinal cord injuries and paralysis, it is likely to be met with skepticism. Now, this is actually different. This is a different one than I had read, because here they're talking about actually mending the spinal cord, but what I had read was that they are actually able to do head transplant now. So I don't know, but it's very sad that they practice on monkeys and dogs. I mean, I don't know. I know it's a huge argument. It does save people's lives, but my gosh, I just don't think that animals were put on this earth to experiment on and so cruelly. But anyway, let's go back. No, really, let's. So that really wasn't what I thought it was. And I will try and see if I can find the other. And I don't know what this is, but let's take a look at it, because it could be something really cool, or it might not be. My guess is it will be. Come on, crank up the hamsters. Okay. Oh, yes. If she wants to condemn the Constitution, wouldn't you think she would at least read it first so she doesn't embarrass herself? And isn't it odd that never occurred to her? This is what happens when young students spend too much time protesting and not enough time in class. Now, listen to this. Let's take this back here.
You believe that the Constitution's the best document in political history?
Greatest political document ever.
There you go.
Thank you.
I want to know, how is it possible to believe that when it's based on racist principles? They describe indigenous peoples as merciless Indian savages. They don't describe African Americans as full people, and they don't even recognize other people of color and other minorities that we see today. So I just want to know how you think it's possible to believe that's such a great document we're
Thank you
founded
for the
upon.
question. Where does it say that in the document? No, keep her. Where does it say that in the document?
I'm sorry, what?
Where does it say what you said in the actual document?
I'm not entirely sure,
It
but...
doesn't.
No,
Instead, you know what it does say? Provide for the general welfare of all people. I prefaced when I talked about the United States Constitution, you know what's amazing is the amendment process. I love the story of Thaddeus Stevens, who fought like hell to make sure that blacks could have the right to vote. I love the story of the Republican Party, which was founded in 1860 as an anti-slavery party. I hate what happened to indigenous people under Democrat presidents. I do. Here's why it's the greatest document ever. is because in a land with so many different backgrounds and languages and cultures in this room, from all over the world, we can peacefully have a conversation while all that's protected simultaneously. We can agree to disagree, we can have this conversation. What you said is nowhere in the founding documents at all. What you said is what's some of the prejudices that was in the people of the founding fathers.
Isn't that awesome? Yeah, it's like, you know, if you're going to criticize the Constitution, make sure you read it. Make sure you read it. Fascinating document. I thought that was pretty good. And I think that that guy really did own her. And she was probably quite sincere. She'd probably heard this or been told this. Perhaps her parents were Democrats. She's probably been told this and really believed that that's what the Constitution said. But it's great when people can be countered with facts. Can't argue with facts. Well, you can, but you can't win. All right. This is very interesting as well. And it also, you know, has my favorite name in it. I don't know if you could ever guess what my favorite name is, but, you know. Here we go. If the hamsters will speed up a little. Come on, guys. I believe in you little hamsters. Come on, come on, come on. It says Word is not responding. I hate when that happens. No, really, I do. Come on. Ta-dum-dum-dum. Okay, hang on, hang on. I know it's frustrating when this happens. I don't know what's happening with this, so let's go to the next one. Actually, let's go down, and because time's getting on here, I'm going to do a few more, and there's enough here really for me to do another video, so I think that is what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to break in a couple minutes, and then I will do another Q-related news. You know, just because I can. All right, now, look at this. No, yeah, so now it's coming up. Well, it's too late, dang it. We're going to save you for the next one. Okay, breaking news. Real Donald Trump to declassify FISA court documents on April 31st of this year. April 31st. FISA court documents are going to be declassified. Uh-oh. Oh, I can't wait. In a bold move, the president has said it's about time the American people finally get the truth. Top Democrats are begging him not to do it on that date. But wait, his response, make me. Love it. Love it. Love it. You gotta love Trump, really, seriously, you got to. Now, we're gonna do one more here, and let me get rid of this so I'll know that we've covered it. And, whoops, hang on now. We got lots more to cover, but I'm gonna break and we'll do another video. Okay, this by George Nassif. Is that how you pronounce his name? I could be wrong. Could be Nassif. By the way, Mr. Comey, according to the Clinton Foundation financial records, you received a check for $1 million the same week you abruptly ended the investigation on Hillary. Coincidence? No, I don't think so. Yeah. How's that for a bombshell? Yeah. Comey, according to the Clinton Foundation's financial records, received a check for $1 million the same week he ended the investigation on Hillary. What was that $1 million for? Why would the Clinton Foundation, which is supposed to be a foundation that is, you know, a humanitarian, you know, dealing with humanitarian needs, so why would the Clinton Foundation cut $1 million check to to James Comey. Why would they do that? Was he in need? Unbelievable. You really think that's a coincidence? Ask your Democrat friends if they think it's a coincidence that Comey received $1 million from the Clinton Foundation the same week Comey ended the investigation on Hillary. Yeah, not thinking that's a coincidence. Not thinking that's a coincidence at all. Anyway, I'm going to stop there, and you can't make me not stop. And I'll be back. No, really, I will. And I may actually do another video right now while this is uploading. I have to go. I'm trying to kind of weigh because I want to go to the gym too. So, but I think I'll do another video and then go. And then if Q has posted, I'll take a look at those. And this may actually even be a 3-video night. Wow. So that's it for now. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. I hope to see you back again. I'll be here, and I hate talking to myself. So come back and listen. Come on. And also, if you want to be subscribed, make sure that you are still subscribed because, you know, YouTube plays the little games that they play and drop people from the subscription list. Also, hit the bell to be notified of future videos. And thank you guys so much for all that you do. I appreciate the coffee and my Patreon subscribers. I appreciate you guys so much. And I enjoy what I do. So it's working out well. Anyway, talk to you guys later and take care until then.